Right, I'm just here in Truro. It's about 7:10. A bit of a wander around because I wake up quite early. Up since about 5. And I got a bit bored of sitting around the house, so I've come down to. I quite like watching the town wake up actually. And around this kind of time, you know, people are just delivering stuff to shops and the bin men are taking the rubbish away, that kind of thing. And I quite like this time of day in town before things actually open, you know. And there's always a shop I've never seen before, like this model shop here, for example. I've never seen this shop before. Anyway, I'm thinking about time actually. That's what I've been thinking about as I've been wandering around. Time, and particularly metaphors of time. Because the dominant metaphor for time, which everybody knows, I guess, because everybody uses it pretty much, is to treat time as a kind of spatial dimension, you know, as a path that you walk down. For most people, the past is seen as being behind you, and the front is the future is in front of you. Lush lingerie shop, nice to see that it's so patriotic, the underwear in Truro. Anyhow, yeah, so time with the the future in front of you, the past behind you. And we kind of have to use metaphors to talk about time because it's an abstract concept, you know. We don't have the senses to literally engage with time. Our eyes don't see into time the way they see into space. We don't have the equivalent of depth perception caused by the parallax of the fact that we've got two eyes. You know, we don't have any of that stuff with time. We can't smell it or taste it. So in order to talk about it and think about it, we have to use metaphors drawn from the things that we do have a sensory connection with. And as I say, the most popular one is space. And it's so familiar to us, we don't even notice that we're using metaphors most of the time, do we? We just talk about it as if it was space. Talk about the dimension. Here I am walking into the future. There are some cultures, one or two, which they use spatial metaphors, but they conceive of the past being in front of you and the future being behind you. And I think the logic for that is because you know what the past is, don't you? For most of us, we've experienced it, whereas the future is unknown. So they imagine themselves as kind of backing into an unknown future because you can't see behind you. But they're very few and far between. Most, as I say, most people are like we are, use the same kind of language and thought patterns that we do, where the future is in front. This is a shop in Truro called Lorelei. It always reminds me of Lorelei La, YouTuber, when I go past here. So yeah, the sort of future, the past, all that kind of stuff. The future is a blinding mirage. But there are some problems with that. I mean, metaphors are really useful. The metaphors of time are really useful. But because they allow us to do things, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the imaginative stuff we do in terms of planning, for example, or creating diaries or any of those kind of things if we didn't find that metaphor of space and time intuitively familiar. So it does have a great use, you know, cognitive usefulness. But at the same time, it has some downsides, you know, because as I say, that metaphor structures our understanding of time. It also provides constraints or structures our understanding in ways which aren't terribly helpful, or which make our intuitions backfire. So, for example, space and time. One of the things about space and thinking about the past and as behind you and the future is in front of you, is that time becomes a kind of a journey. So here I am walking across Lemon Quay in Truro, where they're just setting up the market, and the past is behind me, the future is in front of me, and I'm following this path. But all the time I'm doing this in space, I know that I could have taken other journeys. I could have walked past, you know, when I came past that corner a few minutes ago, I could have gone a different way, and even now I could turn left or turn right, and it's implicit in the logic of space that I can do that. So when I apply that to time, you know, when that carries over into the time metaphor as what's called an entailment, it throws up incorrect intuitions. It makes me feel, for example, that time bifurcates in the way that space bifurcates, and I could have taken alternative pathways in time, and that kind of feeds into understandings of what free will might be, and it does all that kind of stuff, really. So it's, as I say, it's structuring our intuition, structuring my understanding in this case of space and time in a way that is unhelpful, that throws up artefacts, that confuses me, that makes our language a little bit sticky at that point. Anyway, I'm just thinking about different metaphors of time. Is there a different metaphor of time that I can think into which might do something different? And the one I'm thinking about right now, I'll have to try and make a model of this or something to help me realise it better. But the one I'm thinking about right now is to do with time expanding like a balloon, or like the Big Bang, you know what I mean? Like the inflationary expanding universe starts from a point and then expands. Or like those Russian dolls and Matryoshka dolls that you stack one inside the other, you know? Get bigger and bigger. So I'm thinking about that. And, is that a good metaphor for time? That instead of time moving forwards inexorably, in a way that a path of a body through space moves forward, that instead it's an expansion, that the past isn't behind me, the past is inside me, and the future isn't in front of me, the future is everywhere outside of me, expanding like successive layers of an onion, something like that. Anyway, as I say, I'll have to try and make a model of that, involving balloons probably, see how far I get. I'll just take a little bit of a journey around. This is Lemon Key, as I say, in Truro. Cathedral over there. All for Cornwall. It's just setting up the market right now. It's nice this time of the day. I'm just going to go over to the river over here and have a look at the river over here. Bye.